Hello everybody, I'm Catriona Morten. I'm a sensory-motor psychotherapist. And today what I'd like to talk to you about is, this is for those people who have been told that they're avoidant, they're resistant, they're treatment averse, because most of the people that come to see me have been told that at some point in their treatment process. And it's not fared well for them at all. But before I jump into that, if you're enjoying these videos, then please give us a like, subscribe to our channel. I was about to say I'm going to look forward to seeing you again really soon. Bye-bye. I'm being avoidant. So if you're enjoying these videos, then give us a like, subscribe to our channel, because it really helps us get our message out there to loads more of you. Thank you. So most people who come to see me have had multiple therapists. They've tried loads of different things. Usually the first thing that people do is they go to their GP, they go down the NHS route, and for some people that's fantastic and it works brilliantly, and I'll never get to see those people because it's worked. For a lot of people that come to see me, they've been down that route. They've tried medication, they've tried CBT, they've tried all different kinds of things. And they might have been to see multiple different therapists. And sometimes the experiences that they've had have been less than favourable and less than helpful. For a lot of people that come and see me, the message that they've been told is that in one way or another they're being difficult. They're not trying hard enough. They're being resistant, they're being avoidant, they're not doing the work. And that can make them feel even worse, because they'll have been really trying, engaging in it, but it just isn't working. And in the same way that sometimes when people come to see me, we have maybe a trial session and they go, well, this is not for me at all. It's too much, it's not what I want to do. Brilliant. I might try and help them find someone that's more suitable for them, or they go off and do their own research and find someone else. Brilliant. Often, when we have a resistant part or an avoidant part, it's because we've had to. We're not doing it to just make our life difficult and to stop ourselves getting better and to make the life of the therapist difficult. People aren't doing that. They might be struggling to deal with certain things. They might be struggling with certain aspects of the therapy. But it's about working with all of those things and not seeing them as a problem. When I'm working with someone and I feel resistance coming up, and that can look like a whole load of things. It can look like this isn't working for me, or I feel you're being too pushy, or this feels like it's going too fast, or I don't think this is working for me. When I feel someone pushing back on me, then I make that really open. It's like, oh, I can really feel a resistant part that's coming up and pushing back. And often when we can really identify what's happening in the moment, then it helps us see what's lying underneath that. What purpose, what role has this resistance served well? It could be a really good safety mechanism for just keeping things away, not letting things come in when things feel a little bit threatening. And that's because there's been times in that person's life that things have been threatening, things have been coming at them that have been detrimental to them or harmful to them. And so we develop these parts of ourselves, these coping mechanisms, these things that kick in, often as a way of protecting ourselves. The therapist's job is not to be the one trying to drive things forward. In my opinion, the therapist's job is to be really curious about what's happening right now. I'm using myself as I can feel this coming at me, or I can feel this being pushed away. I wonder what that could be. I wonder when in your life that could have been a really useful tool, a really good coping mechanism. When people are really avoidant, it's usually because they're scared of going somewhere. And again, really good reason for that. I can't expect somebody to just blindly trust me because, hey, I'm a therapist, I know what I'm doing. It's not that simple, especially for really wounded little child parts of us, and we all have them, that they want to be able to reach out, but it just feels too scary because they've been hurt in the past. And so when we've had these wounds, when we've had traumas or attachment wounds or things that have consistently happened to us developmentally as we're growing up, and we develop these ways of being that are very adaptive to what was happening back then, but they might not be serving us so well in the here and now, but we can't just turn them off. We don't really know why these things are coming up. We're just aware that they do. And in a therapy session, I know, unless I'm really getting things badly wrong, that this isn't about me. So I take my kind of ego and my personal things out of this. It's like, what's happening in the moment? Because I know if this is happening now, as I'm asking about this or drawing your attention to something, then this is going to be happening at loads of different times. It's like, is this something familiar that comes up for you? When people have not been able to trust and not been able to do what has been asked of them, then it's worth really looking at, I wonder what lies behind that. What is it that makes that so difficult? What are the belief systems that come up about that? And finding ways of working with it and almost kind of befriending it. It's like, oh, there's your resistant part pushing back again. I'm just, either going too quickly or it feels too intrusive. And so I have to pull back and, let those parts know that I've seen them, I've acknowledged them, I'm not taking it personally. I'm not going to give someone a response that says, you shouldn't be doing this, or, you're doing something wrong, this thing is getting in the way. This is the thing. It's not for me to be saying, okay, well, you need to be able to, stop doing that so we can do this. No, because this is where the problem probably lies. This is where the avoidance, this is where the needing to pull back or to put some barrier in the way. Those are often the crucial points and the things that can be also, they're the barriers to things, but when we can work with those, they can be the solution to what lies underneath. And it's really important to understand these things, to help someone understand what point in your life could that have been really useful. Oh, here it is playing out now because this part is protecting against X, Y, or Z. And, these parts can be really, really resolute. When we have a coping mechanism or if we've got a part of us that just shows up, it usually does its job really, really well. And often the head will have a narrative about why it is, why in this present moment this is coming up right now. But if this is a familiar thing, then it's got a backstory. It's got a history. There's been something around that has been necessary to have this resistance, avoidance, this protective shield in place. When we can look back at, what was it like back then? And, really make that part of us as an ally. It's been there, it's done a fantastic job because here you are, you've made it this far. That's brilliant. And learning how to work with it so it doesn't feel as though this is oppositional and this is difficult. It's being really respectful of that and then finding ways of just helping it sit back a little bit. If it's resistance, if it's avoidance, just noticing what it is that helps us be able to look at this thing, to be able to just deal with this, even if it's only for a nanosecond. then we start to begin that process of just getting underneath it with a real compassion to, yes, I get why this is difficult and I get why this is fearful, but you as an adult know that it's not the same now. So we've got one foot in the past and one foot in the present. We can be working with these scared, fearful parts that appear to be doing this thing, knowing that underneath there's some real pain, there's some real fear, but finding ways of being with the body, of being able to make movements that we're not able to make in order to actually get out of that, get just a step outside of that, kind of out of that comfort zone of what always happens. Often people get accused of sabotaging things, making things go wrong, throwing a spanner in the works. Again, there's a reason for that. We don't just deliberately want to make our lives difficult or the people that are trying to help us, but understanding, what lies behind that. What are the belief systems that lie behind that say, either I can't trust when things are going too well, or someone's just getting a bit too close. There's a reason, there's a protective thing that lies behind it. We're not just being difficult. If we don't know what the problem is, and we don't know what the wounds are, and we don't know how that affects the body, both in our behaviours and just the reactions that we have, then we don't know what the solution is. And if we're given solutions and tasks to do, one size doesn't fit all. For some people, they might work. They might get lucky and that might work. But for other people, it can feel like a complete slog, forcing themselves to do these things with the belief that it's going to make them better. And if they're then told that these things should work and they work for other people, so they're either not doing it properly or they're not doing it hard enough or often enough or with great intention, then the client can feel blamed for their lack of progress and even less understood. And when we have attachment wounds, we always think it's our fault. We always think we're not doing it right and the adults must know best. And therapists and doctors can have a real sense of kind of hierarchy, authority. They must be right. But if we don't know what those wounds are and how they've affected us, what they've made us believe about ourselves, how they stop us doing certain things, then we don't know what are the useful things, what are the right resources, what are the ones that really resonate with that place. When we can get them, then the person feels really seen, understood, not judged, and gets that sense of, that's the path I need to be on. Yes, that makes sense. Not just blindly doing something and hoping for the best. And that might work for a little period of time, and then crush, something will happen and we're back to square one again. And with all of these things, it's not usually a big kind of huge shift and revelation in something that either, helps your resistant part to sit back or your avoidant part to actually look at the thing that it's trying to avoid. They're usually very small, micro things, because when we have to have these reactions, it's because we're lacking something else, either a boundary or a sense of ourself, or the trauma reactions or the coping mechanisms are just taking us down and we're not even aware of what we're doing. It's just happening. It's like, oh my God, what's happening to me? When we can have some really small things, and that can be as little as, when you feel yourself starting to pull away or resist, can you get some strength through your legs? Can you just feel the chair and the floor underneath you? Can you get a real sense of what is actually happening right now? Can you look away from me and look at something that actually, takes your attention, takes your awareness, that you can really see it? Bring yourself into the present moment of what's really happening right now. Sometimes those really small things can be very, very helpful. And the smaller the better, because then they're more portable. It's like, oh, I can feel myself, making excuses for not wanting to do that. Haha, it's my fearful part. It's because that I'm actually scared of whatever happened last time happening again. Where do I feel that fear? Okay, what helps it? Does it help to get a bit of strength? You can push your arms into the chair that you're sitting in. Does that help? And when it's a fearful part, then we'll feel it somewhere in our core. You know, we'll either be shrinking away, or the breath might go small, or there might be a big knot in the stomach. Use those things as a guide, as a measure. When you do this, does it ease that? Oh yes, it does. If we're feeling a little bit kind of scattered to the wind, does it help to just pull everything together, give everything a really good squish? Use your strength to bring in some kind of sense of support and being held. Let it go. So, oh yeah, that helps. They're your resources. They're the things that really work for those little fearful parts. Those are the missing pieces that are needed to stay, to be engaging when we don't want to be resistant and pulling away. Knowing that these things are there to try and help us, to protect us. And to find something else that says, okay, I can do this, and it makes me feel strong and in the moment, and oh yes, my spine lengthens and my head comes up when I do this. Then we are now putting something else in place and not letting these parts of us that, you know, we want to be able to engage, we want to be able to trust, we want to be able to connect with people, but our resistant, our avoidant parts, they're just too scared. And we can find the resources to help us do that, just to get over one little step. Then they're not managing and controlling us. We're managing and controlling these wounds from our past, things that are happening in the present moment. So if you've ever been given that message, if you've been told that you are any of those things, avoidant, resistant, treatment adverse, then understand that there's a reason for that. You're not just making your life difficult. You're not just sabotaging things for the sake of things. That's probably the crux of where you need to be doing the work, and finding somebody that's able to do that with you, to help you understand, befriend, find ways of managing and helping those parts of us. They're not just making a life difficult for the sake of it. So I really hope that helps you make sense of some of these things that either you've been told or you know that happened to you. And it just gives you some food for thought and makes you realise that actually there's nothing wrong with you. It's just these things are perfectly understandable and normal and, you know, very common. So if you've enjoyed this video, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Okay, bye!